What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's Deckin Around. My name is Tyler,
I am Steve.
and we are really excited for this week's episode. We have Kevin Lee on the show. For any of you who don't know Kevin, Kevin is an absolutely phenomenal magician. You're definitely going to want to make sure to check out his Instagram links down below, his YouTube. All of his information is down in the description below. If you haven't stumbled across Kevin, this is going to be a real treat for you today. We're obviously going to be talking a little bit about how he got into magic, but just diving into who Kevin is behind the magic. I am really pumped for this one, Steve.
Dude, I want to know how he's so damn good looking. That's what I want to know.
If he ever doesn't make it as a magician, he definitely could be a model. So it's gonna be a fun episode for sure. It's gonna be really interesting to see how it all plays out. So
Dude, I think we should start requiring some of these guests to wear masks when they come on.
There you go, just to make us feel a little bit better.
Yeah, like these ugly face masks.
Oh my God. Well, on that note, and without further ado, let's bring on Kevin. What's up, Kevin?
Yeah,
How you doing today, man?
what's up?
Hey, Steve.
Man.
Hey, Tyler.
How you doing, man? It's so good to have you on the show. We've been super excited for this one. We've been waiting for it for a while. It's nice to have you finally here, man.
Yeah.
It's good to be here. I think I saw one of your reviews on YouTube. I'm like really into watching just all kind of magic reviews, and
Nice.
I really enjoy the whole dual style you have going on. So yeah,
Thanks,
thanks
man.
for having
We
me.
appreciate it. No, it's
We just stopped doing magic reviews.
it's funny, like we're always trying to pander to the YouTube algorithm, and magic reviews were always like an anchor on our whole thing because it would be like the lowest views out of all of it, and so then we drop something after it and that would suffer, and we're like, all right, we're gonna figure out a new way to do magic reviews that makes them a little interesting. So we're actually looking at shorts maybe going forward, so we'll see how that plays.
That sounds good.
Yeah, figure out a 60-second magic review.
Squeeze it inside. So.
Exactly, man. If they can make a trailer 2 minutes, we can cut that in half and get half the information in there.
Yeah.
And most of the time, the trailers don't even show what the trick is. Like you could be having a 3-minute trailer, and you're like, I don't even know what's going on here.
Yep.
Exactly, man. So the bar is very low, is the way we look at it. So
Maybe we can, I don't know, create something new. You know, these 60-second magic reviews. I don't know. We might be able to make it work.
I like to see
that's
that.
That's the fun part about being a creator is you have all of this kind of potential to do things maybe not that no one's ever done before, but to kind of put your own personal spin on it. And really, even with like shorts, which is such a new medium, being able to see how people are going to take what they've learned on TikTok, what they've learned on Instagram Reels, bring that to YouTube Shorts and see how it all plays. Because even though they're similar mediums, there's always those little tweaks between the platforms on how they act differently. So I'm sure you know that being an avid content creator here. But, obviously we have a little bit of an obligatory question here of how did you get into magic and what kind of brought you to this whole point you're at now?
So I was around 8 years old when I went to China, where our parents are from. I was born in Southern California, but I went on this trip, and my grandpa wasn't a magician or anything. But yeah, the classic grandpa story. But it's true, and he had like this push cart behind his home. So he's from a part of China called Hangzhou. It's beautiful, very beautiful. You have to check it out someday. And there's just a push cart that sold all kinds of like little magic tricks, like stock tricks, but also like all kinds of puzzles. So he just learned the vanishing handkerchief trick, and right before I came, he showed it to me. But that was like my first time seeing magic in person. So
Wow.
it was really hard to describe the way I felt. But I mean, after that, I just took it back to school and immediately showed all my friends. So
That's really cool.
that's really the start.
That's cool. My grandfather, obviously funny grandfather magic story, which I think every single grandfather, I don't know, has done this, but the magic trick my grandfather did was the whole coin behind the ear trick.
Ooh, classic too.
That unfortunately didn't get me into magic, but I wish it did.
Oh, God. I feel like that's always a tough one, too, because it's like, I know this thing didn't just come out of my ear, but where did it come from? But the vanishing like handkerchief is really such a impactful, and especially at a young age where like you're still so impressionable to the way things work in the world and understanding it. You're still like learning like physics. You don't know physics. You don't know that magic isn't necessarily not real magic, which is so cool. And so, like you said, you then brought it back to school, and that kind of has developed into this now career here. Did you ever think at that time that it was going to be something like, I mean, I'm sure at 5 you're just like, hey, this is really cool. Let's make all my friends enjoy this. But like, where was it that you really realized you wanted to make this a lifelong passion?
Well, before that, it really became the confidence inside of me because I was super introverted. And when I showed it to people, they thought I was interesting enough to talk to. So I was like, wow, I have this ability to get to speak to anybody. And even if they didn't speak the same language as me, like we could still kind of interact with each other just by seeing a magic trick. So that sort of became my means of just meeting people in general, talking to them. And later on, I really just fell in love with the creativity side. Like you can actually create your own magic trick. You can put your own spin on it, add in your personality, your background, and storytelling. The whole storytelling aspect is allowing people to relate to a magic trick. Like magic trick is cool in general, but having it relatable, I think that's the most important part. Like making people care about the trick.
Yeah.
No, for
I guess
sure.
I just fell in love with that process.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
I think that's the part that all magicians wish they had, was the ability to create that story that can touch other people, right? I think that's the difference between a great magician and just a standard somebody who practices magic. You know, I think the magicians that are in that upper level can create that emotion and that story that kind of pulls you in and just, you know, makes it more than just the magic.
Exactly. And I have what I call the 3 standards of magic, the 3 M's that I really live by every time I put together a set or just perform in general. So the first one is modern. Like I want to use, excuse me, I want to use items that are super relatable, like organic items. The first magic DVD I put out for the public is called Cohesive. It's like a gum magic DVD I put with Murphy's. And that was like the first magic DVD I ever bought. It wasn't even like a card trick DVD or coin trick. It was Gum by Jeff Price, my now good friend Jeff Price. And I was like, wow, you can do magic with literally anything. But just modern in general, like unlocking cell phones, one of my favorite things to do. The second one is meaningful. So add some type of meaning in there. I'm a huge fan of stage manipulation, super fun to watch because it's all visual, done with the music, very sexy. But at the same time, I just feel like I'm the type of person who likes to storytell in general and talk to people throughout the show. So I can't really do the whole silent act type of deal. And the last one is just being memorable. And like when people walk away from your set, like whether you give them a souvenir or just a memorable moment that they can remember for a long time, that's so important because people will remember that moment for a long time. It's not every day they get to see a magic trick. And I think that was like a quote I put in my senior high school. It's like from Maya Angelou, goes along the lines of, people will forget the way you look, your name, what you said to them, but they'll never forget the way you made them feel. And that's, I think, our job as a magician, is to allow people to remember that magical feeling, because it's like nostalgia. We want to bring that childhood feeling back for them.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's so true. And I think that that's true for comedians, for, you know, any type of performer, whether it's a musical or you know, something like Blue Man Group. You know, I've seen all these different musicals and operas and you know, stage acts, but like I don't remember them all. And there's certain ones that I remember, certain pieces, and I remember it because of the impact that it had on me at that time. You know, I don't know if you guys have you seen Blue Man Group?
No, not perform. I know who they are. Yeah.
Oh, you haven't seen them live? Oh, guys, like you got to see it live. But yeah, and that's something, you know, that I don't remember every single part. I remember certain aspects of it, but there's one huge culmination of the show at the end. Obviously, if you've seen it on like a video, you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, the end is just ridiculous, and that's something you will never forget, no matter what happens. It's, you know, something that stays with you. And I think that's,
are they still in Vegas right now?
Probably. I mean, they're in Boston all the time, and I'm from Boston, so I've seen them like literally 6 or 7 times. I've seen them in LA. I've seen them in New York. I've seen them in Vegas.
Maybe you're the 4th secret member that we don't know about.
Dude, I wish. It's funny because my friend, who was a drummer for a band, got offered a job to be a drummer for Blue Man Group.
Wow,
that's really cool.
He turned it down to go on tour with this band that he's a part of now, and he's like, man, if I only took that Blue Man Group job.
That's something else right there for sure. But and it's interesting to see, you know, you mentioned you have these kind of tenets that you create your magic and your experience by. What for you was one of the most memorable magic memories, other than obviously your grandfather, that's kind of driven the direction you've gone with magic over time?
Good question, Tyler.
Ooh. So like you're asking a specific memory that really stuck with me.
Yeah. And maybe not necessarily impacted the way. I mean, I think that's one of the cool things about magic is there's just so many facets of it that can be impacted. So it could be the way you approach creating a new gimmick or a new routine. It could be something that just stuck with you and you're like, wow, I want to make people feel like that. But what was one of those things that for you really just kind of set the stage for future, kind of like set the bar for you almost, you know? Like, I want to be at that level. I want to make people feel that way, or I want to be able to create something that visually spectacular.
This was later on in my career, I would say about like 2 years ago, and I was performing at a casino, just walk around magic, and there was two ladies just sitting by themselves. I'm like, hey, I don't mean to like disturb you right now, but I'm the magician. I would love to share something with you. And they're like, okay, that's random, but sure, like show us what you got. I was like, all right, let's do this. So I proceeded to do a couple card tricks, and then I did the Turner watch, which I'm sure you two are pretty familiar with.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
it went really smoothly. Like I said, I want you to think back to a special memory. And now when you're in that memory, imagine you're actually stepped inside of that moment. You see a face of a clock in front of you. Like what time is it at that point? And try to remember as best as you can. You don't have to be like exact correct. And I put the watch in their hand and everything. They told me the time. I proceeded the routine as normal. Freaked out when they saw the time. Matched exactly what they said.
That's so cool.
But this is the kicker part, which I just like. This is what I live for. Moments like these is like it's actual magic that happens, and we as magicians just take credit for it because they don't know. But they said they just know they just froze longer than usual, and I thought, so yeah, that was the time. Hope you enjoyed that. And they're like, how did you know? I'm like, the time? They're like, no. How did you know the name that I was thinking of? I'm like, oh, were you thinking of someone in that memory? They're like, I was thinking of my brother, Turner.
Oh, that's so insane.
How did you print it on the watch? And I'm like, no, you're kidding. You're like joking with me right now, right? And then she's like, no. And I just said, yeah, it's crazy, huh?
That's intense.
You just
I was trying to hold it in. Yeah, I just dropped the Turner watch there and left. But
that's when cool. You know you're good off on the fly though, because you're just like, all right, like you could either like, oh my god, no, that's just complete coincidence, or you're just like, yep, see you later, thanks.
I mean, the Turner watch is a ridiculous. It's a ridiculous
kind of like gimmick,
gimmick. But I mean, to have it say something that relates to her that you guys didn't even talk about.
That's impressive. Cool. I'm sure that will stick with her for the rest of her life.
Oh yeah.
100%.
That's so crazy.
And for me too. Yeah.
That's cool.
And so now on the magic side of it too, you know, one of the big things that stands out to me when I came across your Instagram is the first magician on Instagram. So now that's quite the claim there. What actually got you into the whole end of social media magic?
I think I started posting just for fun back in like 2016, 2017, just filmed on a DSLR, had no idea how to shoot, just did it, put some music together in the background. But later on, I think what pushed me a little more is just trying to be more consistent and finding my flow of it. So just testing out sort of styles. And for one point, this was like 2018, 2019, memes were just like really big in general, like videos were being put into memes. And you had that style of the white background, and then you have the video kind of smaller inside of it with the text above. Yeah. Or like a Snapchat banner that says when you blah, 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 or anything like that. So I was just thinking, why can't I just make this into like a magic trick, but it has like a meme. So anyone watching it at first, they don't know it's a magic trick until they watch it. And then it just kind of hooks them in like that.
That's really cool.
So that's how I got more into my flow of things. And later on, as I posted more consistently, someone from Instagram reached out from like the actual team, which at first I thought like, oh, this is like fake, it's spam. Yeah. They're like, no, we're from the actual Instagram team, like at Instagram page, which a lot of people don't know. It's just funny. Like Instagram has an Instagram.
Yeah, and if they share your shit on their page, you're instantly famous.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's how the dude Humans of New York got famous, is from getting posted on Facebook, their actual page.
So I just thought to myself, like, of all the other magicians, like, why would you reach out to me first? I'm like a nobody. Like, there's David Blaine, David Copperfield, and it just felt really incredible in that moment. So I really spent a lot of time to figure out exactly what I wanted to do for that video, the feature. And I also did a IGTV because that was just starting to roll out. So this is like way before Reels and all of that.
Nice. That's dope. Good on you, man.
Thank you.
That's cool.
And how have you enjoyed the social media side of Magic in comparison to like that live performance? Does the live performance still just do it for you next level in comparison to social media?
They're its own beast in itself. Like, it's really hard to compare social media Magic with in-person stuff because it's similar to virtual shows now. I thought I can simply take my live shows and just do it in front of the camera, call it a day, but it doesn't work like that. And same thing with social media. Like, we can do incredible things on social media. We can't necessarily do in person, but that's the beauty of it. It's like, take advantage of each platform and push it to its limit, but add your own personality. I think that's the biggest thing magicians have to realize on social media. It's like very simple to just get stock Magic, take a playing card, turn it into a watch, as we all know. But you know,
that was huge.
Yeah, it was huge.
Wow, but I mean, that literally is probably the best like camera Magic.
Yeah, I would say so. And
it's just crazy. Like, nobody can explain it. It doesn't make sense. I remember when I first saw it, I'm like, what the fuck?
It's a really good one. And I think the funny thing about it too is that like you said, adding your own twist to it. Like, I think one of the big things we see in social media Magic these days, especially on like the TikTok and the shorter form video side, is the second something blows up, everyone has it. And you're seeing the same magic trick everywhere, but the ones who really thrive at it are the ones who add their own spin to it. And maybe not even a spin to it on the way the gimmick performs itself, but the personality they bring to it, or simple stuff like the energy they bring to it. You know, there's so many videos you see where it's literally just card to watch with no background noise or no voiceover or anything like that. Those are the ones that end up getting like 12 likes. And then you see one where someone just brings so much energy to the screen and it's got hundreds of thousands of likes. And you're like, yes, like that's what it is. It's the same premise. It's just how you personalize it.
And there was a lot of people who used to just get that hook right off the bat. It's like, first thing they say, watch. And then people are like, okay, all right, we'll watch.
Yeah, dude, that's what it's all about with those things. You just got to catch the attention as quick as possible. I mean, newer social media platforms are made to be scrolled past 90% of the content, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So,
and that's how they show you to more people, is like, if you're able to hook them longer on your videos, then they'll push you out to even more people on the explore page and your own followers.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting concept. How now, being so involved in the social media side of things, how do you see that potentially negatively impacting Magic?
Copying in general. Again, the idea of just simply taking lines from other people, using it as your own, and not trying to think outside of the box, because it's easy to just copy lines and take the same exact trick, go to the shop, buy the same thing. It takes a lot more time and energy to create your own original thing. And it's hard to just create something original nowadays. We just stand on the shoulder of giants. But as long as you add in your own personality somehow, like, you can't duplicate someone else. Like, you're your own person. So that's the most important part. And I really think that social media might steer people away from that side.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's so specific, right? Social media, like, you know, like what Tyler was saying, like, not everybody has that energy, that excitement when you're not in a room with someone, or, you know, you're not face to face, I guess. So it's definitely, and, you know, and those people are like shying away from that. I don't want to do that. That's stupid. You know what I mean? It's like, I create live magic.
Right.
I don't do Instagram
magic. We're better than that. Come on. Social media magic? No, that's like way below us.
Yeah, exactly. And they're the ones that are struggling, you know, trying to make it work and keep their name relevant, or, you know, things like that.
Social media in general, I mean, it's a great way to promote yourself and your work. So you kind of have to play the game in that sense, but it's fun when it can be good.
Yeah, the power behind it is definitely something impressive. I mean, you look at some people who really have built, I don't want to say social media empires, but have built empires off of social media starts. It's super impressive. I mean, you look at, there's actually a streamer who I enjoy watching, and not even his streams, but his kind of informational stuff. His name is Harris Heller. And he talks a lot about like how, I mean, he's very open about, obviously there was a whole period in YouTube where people are like, oh, this is how much money I make. And everyone kind of onto that trend to see how much a YouTuber makes. But he's very open about how to get from like making thousands of dollars a month to making like a sustainable income off of social media. And it's really interesting to see how many people start in one place and then turn that into brick and mortar business or marketing firms or things like that, where you take the skills you're learning from social media and turn them into tangible business models, which is really pretty impressive to see. And, I'm sure there are people out there who are living comfortably off purely their social media, but by doing so, they leave so much on the table. You have, merchandising is an easy one to hit from day one, but then you get into it and you're like, all right, I've been able to create the successful brand with 1 million people. How do I then take those skills I learned and consult with another brand looking to do something similar? It's really interesting to see how that all ties in. And I think from the magic point of view, the one really cool thing about that is magicians are built to be performers. And so you have these skills where you want to make people listen, you want to make people watch, and you have this just ability to create this hook, which I think from a marketing point of view and from a business point of view is something brands are always looking to do. So like I'm expecting in the future, we'll see more magicians take that magic social media side of things and turn it into these like unrelated brands.
100%. And with that also comes building a community. So I think that's another important part, is just making sure you interact with everyone that comments and just be an all around kind person.
Yeah. And I think that's great. We talk about that a lot actually on the show, randomly throughout our 74 episodes, but which is fucking crazy, is like, it's great when you get a message or when someone messages you. Let's take us for instance. I messaged you, you got back to me right away.
Yeah.
And you have a big following. It's not like you have 20 followers and you're, like you have a big following on TikTok and you have a big following on Instagram. So it's funny to see when somebody who has a big following respond so quickly and interact. We've never had a problem interacting with you. You've been right back, you get back to, but then you have people who have not so much of a following, not as much, and they're kind of in that space where they're too good to respond. You know what I mean? So it's interesting to see, because you have those people who don't follow anybody. They're just, doing their thing, which is fine. Not everybody has the ability or the skill of interacting with people, and maybe that's why they don't respond or whatever. But it's definitely interesting to see those that do respond and comment on, their posts and stuff like that and interact. And then the ones that don't,
Yeah. Just try to be as personal as possible, and that's really it.
Yeah. It's definitely cool to see the ones that do interact and respond, which most of the people that we connect with respond. There's very few that haven't, but there are those that haven't, and you're like, why?
Nah. We don't want them on the show anyways, right?
Exactly.
Hey, if they turn around, if they change their tune one day down the road, we'll consider it. But yeah, we're not chasing people just because. And that's the thing. Like, that's the one thing I do love about the social media side of magic and just social media in general is accessibility of people who otherwise you may have never even known. And I think that's probably one of the biggest impacts for magic in a positive way is historically magicians have gotten together at conventions. That's the time you talk to each other. That's how you get to meet new magicians who are up and coming on the scene. Now there's so much content being put out from magicians all over the world who you may have never heard of before, who you stumble across and you're like, holy crap, this guy is amazing. In 6 months, he's going to be blowing up on every platform. Like, I'm so excited to be able to see him first time around. It's really cool to be able to see that kind of reach that's there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's so much magic. There's literally there's more and more people I find every day that I'm like, oh my god, like I've never seen this person before, never heard of them, never seen them. They have a huge following, and it's like, how come I've never heard of them? Because there's so many freaking people that are just in the community that we've never heard of, and not all of them are on Instagram, not all of them are on Facebook, whatever. But it's so cool to meet new people, have people on here that maybe they might have not have heard of, and you never know.
Have you two been to Magic Life before in Vegas?
No. So we have not. We were actually going to go this year, but with again the way things are kind of playing out, it's interesting to see how things are all going to go for the future conventions.
I think they're doing it again March of next year. So
Yeah.
hopefully
cool.
I'll see you guys there.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, without a doubt.
definitely,
We're definitely
definitely.
going to be there. So it's just a matter of hopefully this pandemic kind of lays low a little bit, at least for
Yeah.
at least for 1 or 2 conventions to kick off. I
Yeah.
mean, Steve and I being on the playing card side of things and all that, we've been trying to get to Cardistry Con. We've been trying to get to 52 Plus Joker, which is playing cards. We've been trying to get to any Magic convention. It's like all of them are out there being like, hey, it's coming. And then all of a sudden it's like, COVID spike, let's push it back again. And granted, like, I'd much rather these conventions play it safe than try and force it just to make the revenue. I think that also speaks a lot to the communal aspect of the community, where we're not just trying to make a buck off people. We're really trying to make sure that everyone's safe and it's a enjoyable experience for everyone. But it's also like, I only have so much patience in me.
That was a really fun convention. I think my first year was 2015.
Nice.
And it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think a couple people have told us it smells like just like a sweaty gym.
Ripe individuals, yeah.
Depends where you're at, but yeah, it's pretty true.
I mean, I could definitely see that. Again, it's a lot of people. I think any convention can be like that, though. It's a lot of people in a small space, late nights hanging out, partying. Hygiene isn't always your first priority there, but it happens. So, talking a little bit also on back to the social media side of things, I think one of the really interesting aspects of social media in this day and age is the self-promotion of follow count, we'll call it, and like those milestones. How have you found that whole process for you? Initially, like you said, when you were younger, you were very much an introverted person. How have you found playing into those kind of expectations on social media where you hit 100,000 followers and you get balloons and there's a big celebration on your TikTok and things like that? How has that kind of played out for you?
I think nowadays I'm not as into that anymore. Every video I put out, I'm just happy with it. I just put out content that I want nowadays. Whereas when I first started, I was more so playing the game of what will people actually want to see, looking at trends, following everything, and kind of adjusting my material for that. Whereas now I feel more free to just put out what I want. And a lot of my followers they've stuck around for many, many years when I first started, and they love anything I put out. But if I hit like 300K or whatever, I probably won't have a celebration or anything. I'll just give myself a pat on the back. But I feel like more so it's the work that I'm putting out, because I just want to be viewed as a performer first, and the content creator is just all for the fun after that.
Yeah. And so with that in mind, you've done several pretty large, television appearances as well. You've been on Penn and Teller, Fool Us. Has that kind of been a goal of yours prior to being on those shows? Were those things that you really were striving to get to, or were those kind of things that just came about naturally?
Yeah, I remember watching Penn and Teller Fool Us when I was in middle school, and this is like season 1 when they're still in the UK, I believe. And just picturing myself, I wonder what it's like to even go on one of these shows in general, like just TV in general. And Fool Us was my first opportunity to go on TV. And I think I was 19 back in 2017. And it was just crazy to think that I will be performing in front of 2 of my biggest idols in Magic.
Crazy.
Really cool.
And I wasn't expecting it. And my first show. So it was actually insane. But the whole process of it, I really enjoyed, because even before that, I auditioned for other shows on the side, never got anything. But somehow the execs just saw something inside of me, and they thought that this could be a good start for my career. And it's I'm super grateful for Penn and Teller.
That's
really cool.
Yeah, that's a fun show. That's for sure.
Dude, we've heard really good things.
YouTube, you go on like a rabbit hole.
Dude!
Oh my God!
It's so funny, and it's and the cool thing about it is, we've heard some of the backsides, like the backstage stories, I guess you can call them. Where
the production value, the production involvement in the creation and all that kind of stuff, which is really interesting to see, and like it makes you realize how much it is entertainment driven thing. But like magicians being on just must be so thrilled,
Yeah,
I think it's the best Magic show on TV. Period.
Yeah. That's cool. There's so many different acts.
Yeah.
And
everyone on the team is just so kind. So.
Yeah. Now, how do you feel about like AGT Magic and stuff like that?
I feel like AGT is more reality TV style, whereas Full Us is just genuinely they want to showcase your roots, exactly who you are without changing anything.
Yeah.
So it's just different, but both of them, they have obviously their strengths. Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. I feel like there's more and more magicians going on AGT, so it's interesting to see.
Yeah. And now it's like, what hasn't been done yet in the world of magic? So
yeah, no, that's true.
Dude, I feel like there's always something, and that's, and like you said earlier, you know, everyone's kind of standing on the shoulders of giants here because so much has been done. A lot of what we see now is kind of evolution of previous foundational creation, but it's so really cool to see some of the evolutions and some of the combination of historical kind of theories to create new visuals and new ways of doing old routines that are either easier or more accessible or potentially even just more comfortable for some people, you know? I always get a kick out of like when you see, I mean, I think a lot of times we see like a lot of magic wallets come out every year that promise all these things. And it's interesting though, because each one, you know, you'd think, okay, how many different ways are there to do a magic wallet? But in reality, like each one of them has different aspects to it. And so there are people out there all the time being like, oh man, like now I have to go buy another magic wallet because now I've got 6 of them. And I'm like, that to me, I find there are so few industries that can really manage something like that, where yes, you have 6 magic wallets, but they all do something specifically better than the rest of them because of the thought and the intention behind them. You know, magic is such an intentional art these days. It's interesting to see how it kind of builds on itself.
Yeah. And
no, I love seeing creations every day, just seeing different ways of combining different plots. Like this wallet does everything, and then this TNR is combining that idea. So
yeah, and I think it's cool because I mean, there's so many wallets coming out because I mean, this isn't the only reason, obviously, but I think because as wallets change and they get more condensed and smaller and minimalized, I think, you know, magicians have to come out with wallets that are more everyday carry wallets, so to speak.
Yes.
You know, so it's like going from the bigger wallets, like the big, huge ones that people used to use, to the tiny little ones that people use nowadays, you know?
I make a prediction. The next biggest wallet is going to be just a band. It allows you to do a peak, duplication, card to wallet. I don't even know, but it's just
that would be sick.
A thin clip.
When are you going to come out with it?
Ooh, I'm going to start taking some notes today after this.
I mean, it's crazy to see though. I think like there is so much momentum behind a lot of these wallets that come out, and you see even the names, like the names that come behind a lot of these wallets are what drive it as well. But you know, we've looked at a lot of wallets that have come out, and people love every single one for different reasons. I think that's the coolest thing about it. Like that's the one thing I love about Magic. You could have, you know, a million different ball and cup gimmicks. And sometimes people collect them for the historical aspect of it. Sometimes people collect it for the personal and emotional attachment themselves. Sometimes people just feel like using different ones. You know, it's all this kind of idea in Magic that no matter how many similar gimmicks come out, there's always going to be someone who wants to buy what does come out for whatever motivation. You know,
yeah, it's kind of like
what are your go-to wallets?
I like the FPS wallet personally.
My favorite is probably the Nexus wallet.
Okay.
I think the Nexus wallet. But I haven't seen the new, I don't know what's the new wallet that just came out.
The Illusionist one?
Yes. What's that one called? The Everything wallet? What's that?
I know what you're talking about. I forgot the name.
So I have a wallet that is very similar to Nexus, but it's similar to the new Illusionist wallet because it has that pull band too. So it's literally like my wallet, which to me I think is huge, because if it doesn't if I can't use it every day, then what's the point?
Yeah,
you know, and that's something that looks, you know, I haven't seen it in person yet, so I don't know.
The Hermes wallet, is that
it? The Hermes wallet.
Yeah, from Josh Janowski.
Yeah, that's the one. That looks dope. You know, so I think nowadays, you know, like the Nexus or the Hermes, it's like trying to create that wallet that does everything. You know, you have the card to wallet, you have the out to lunch, you have the, you know, the peak, and it's I think
a fire wallet maybe. No.
Yeah, no, seriously, I think one that does it all would be beneficial, I guess.
But that's also, yeah, and it gets to be tough. And, then you have the whole argument of some people like one wallet to do one thing, and so they know what they have, and like the specificity versus the jack of all trades. It's such an interesting kind of premise in Magic, and I feel like with so many things in Magic, you have people who fall into one camp versus the other. You're always going to have a pretty even split of people who are like, no, one gimmick should only do one thing and one thing really well, or versus people who are like, hey, one gimmick should do anything it can do, and why not? And I think that's part of how the evolution of it all comes about, though, too, is you see someone who finds something that does one thing really great, and they're like, how can I throw a few more things into this and make them all just as good? And then you get a new wallet that comes out.
Exactly.
And so now from the creation side for you, what's kind of your creative process look like? Is it very off the cuff? We have some people who are like, oh, I get all my creative thinking done in the shower. We know people who have to sit down and really go through a kind of a time boxed process. For you, is a lot of it just kind of, what does that look like for you actually?
It used to be just sitting in front of my computer watching a movie, and I would lay out like scissors, tapes, rubber cement, cutting boards, and just start making any random thing that came to mind. And then it was partially inspired by the movie I was watching at the time. If I liked the specific scene or a specific soundtrack from there, it would inspire me to just make something in that moment. And nowadays, it's just whenever an idea pops up. It could be at the gym, in the shower. So it really there's no exact way that I create. Sometimes it could be I figure out a method that's really fun and work backwards from there, or I just have sort of an image of how I want it to be and go from there.
That's really cool.
Now, what's your go-to magic? Is it card magic? Is it gimmick magic? Is it create your your own creations? Or
I would say it's phone magic. Pretty go-to, because I don't always have a deck of cards on me, and everyone has their phone on them, so it's pretty easy to do in that spot, and it feels, again, personable, because they're like, oh, this is my phone. That's insane.
I mean, there's so many apps now that are just ridiculous with email, getting an email on the spot from you that says whatever you want it to say. It's just,
I lose track of how many Magic apps I actually have.
Yeah, it's crazy. But some of these new ones are just, how they're integrated are ridiculous. They're kind of on the verge of, is that legal?
Yeah, it feels like that.
It does. It's so funny, but it's just amazing. Just these creators coming up with all these ideas and implementing them.
And so now with the whole phone magic side of things for you, with the apps and everything, how have you found that creative process? Have you found it easier than, say, card creation or gimmick creation in other aspects, or have you found it a little more difficult just because of the complexity of what you need for a phone to be able to create this? Obviously there's specialty to it. If you want to create a gimmick around a deck of cards, again, like you said, you need some scissors, some tape, and some glue. Maybe if you want to get into the app world, a lot of times there's programming involved, and money. Yeah, money and programming. Have you found that to be kind of a barrier to entry on creation of phone related gimmicks, or have you found it where it's worth the investment, especially for you, should you go that route?
Ooh, I've thought about creating an app in the future. I know it takes a ton of work, a ton of just time in general to beta test and whatnot. But what I do love about phone magic is the ability to add in your personality, and that's what makes it impressive. The app is just a tool. A deck of cards is just a tool, but if you don't know how to use it, then it's not going to be a good routine. So it really pushes you to want to be a better performer in general, and that's why I like it.
Yeah, it's definitely something that takes a while, right? So if you have an idea, it's that lengthy process, and it makes it even more exciting at the end when it's done and ready to pass out,
And so when you're out there talking, doing a routine with people, especially on the phone related side, do you find people are very hesitant to give you their phone?
Sometimes. Other times they're like, I have a passcode to protect it. It's all good. What can you do with it? And then I proceed to unlock it and they freak out.
Dude, I love it. I feel like people are probably more likely to give you their wallet than their phone these days, because there's such an emotional connection to a phone. It's something else. But dude, and
That's
to think,
true.
and you think about it, really though, it's such a new thing too. It's barely over a decade that people have had this hard driven desire to protect a phone.
It's their new diary, man.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like that's where all the private stuff are, and it's like, man.
I love when they like try to explain how the trick works and they're just like, oh, it's probably just tech related, internet related. I'm like, I unlocked your phone. That has nothing to do with any of that. But the false explanations are just really funny. You're like, okay, yeah, I think.
I feel like people probably, especially when it comes to phones, something that they keep so close to them and in their pocket all the time, it probably triggers more people to be like, how did you do that? Versus like a card trick where people are like, oh, that's awesome. But a small percentage are going to be like, oh, I need to figure out how that happened. I feel like with a phone, like something personal to you, the immediate instinct is like, how? Like, what did you do to my phone to make this happen? That's got to be like such an awesome reaction.
I wonder if anybody has gotten a new phone after you've done a phone trick on them.
Ooh.
Because they've been like, oh my God, like I need a new phone.
There's a virus on it.
Yeah.
I took a trick pretty far one time. This was a couple years ago. I was having dinner with one of my friends from university, and I remember getting his passcode. I don't even know why I did this, but I got his passcode through the method I usually use, and I just wrote it down in my notes app, just saved it. Didn't unlock his phone in that moment. Waited a year and a half later when we're having dinner, and I'm like, wait, I still have this dude's passcode. I wonder if he changed it or not.
Oh,
and then as we're having dinner, he goes to the restroom, leaves his phone there, and I'm like, all right, what is that passcode? All right, enter it in. Unlocked. Incredible. No. He didn't change it. And I opened up Facebook. Should have done this, but I opened up his Facebook. I posted, I will choose the 3 of clubs or whatever card, and then closed it, locked it up. When he came back later on, I'm like, hey, can I try something on you? The classic, let me experiment something. And just take out any card you'd like.
Oh my God.
The rest
was hilarious.
Yeah.
Dude, that is he must have just been like freaked out. That's so awesome.
He's like, I want to leave right now.
Dude, I don't give anybody my passcode. My girlfriend doesn't even know my damn passcode.
I don't have a passcode. I let it. Well, this is the good thing about an Android. I only have the face and the thumb. So unless someone wants to cut off one of my fingers, we're good there.
It's just something. I see too many crime shows, too many stalker shows, too many like crazy things that significant others have done. My mom doesn't even like. I don't give my passcode to anybody,
dude. See, that's the thing. People are super protective of their phones. It's funny, like, and I think
you can get into my bank account on my phone, like literally. You can log into my bank account.
But with your passcode, or would they need your thumb or something?
No, I mean it depends. No, well, I mean if you have my passcode, you know how to get in.
Yeah, see, for me, like even if you have the passcode to unlock my phone, all of my apps then also use a fingerprint to get beyond that as well. So like,
really?
So like even if you got my phone, I personally, I don't care. Like, oh no, you got my pictures, which are backed up to the cloud, so I have them still anyway. And like, there's nothing inappropriate on my phone, so that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I don't care about that. But like my email is open, so you can send an email.
Oh yeah, like someone could get into my email. I'm not too worried about that. Like, they're gonna email my great uncle who sends me spam emails every day. Like, have fun with that. You're now on his spam mailing list.
I have a lot of.
Oh no, there's definitely a process people could go through, and once they have access to your email, it opens up a lot of doors. But like, I don't know. In this day and age, like we have so much reliance on a phone. I wouldn't be surprised if people become more and more protective of it as we see companies transition to solely mobile-oriented, stuff. Like you look at a lot of companies now. Their interface on the web takes significant like steps backwards in comparison to their mobile apps or their mobile interface because the usage is there. Eventually it could be that 80% of this usage is mobile based, and then why even have a non-mobile website? So
it's crazy, man.
Phones are something crazy, man. It's interesting to think how beholden we've become to them. But I think, again, the fact that people are willing to even hesitantly give it over for magic tricks. Like it wasn't too long ago. It must have been maybe late last year. There was, and I can't even remember who put it out at this point, but it was like a broken phone one where you'd like smash someone's phone with a hammer in a bag and all of the broken phone parts would come out. And people in the trailer were like bugging out. And then they'd be like, oh, wait, just kidding. Here it is. And they like pull out your phone and it was like unharmed. But I'm like, dude, the emotional turmoil you're putting someone through, even in those 3 to 5 seconds, is like horrifying.
I think I have one of the similar items. I forgot the name of it, but it's like a black bag. It kind of has a net in the front. So when you drop someone's phone in or they put it in, you simultaneously drop the dummy phone and it just like cracks in half.
Yeah.
And I've had the opposite experience where they're like, they just all stare at it. And I'm like, oh. And some people were freaking out, but the owner was like, oh, that's fine. I have Apple Care on that. What? Bro, I just broke your phone. You're fine with that? Like, it's all good.
I mean, if you think about it, like this, like come to like there was that whole trend for a while on like TikTok where people would run up to other people, take their phone, slam it on the ground, and then give them a new phone. And people were still getting pissed, understandably so, being like, I don't want a new phone. That was my phone. And I'm like, dude, like this is how much we've realized that like phones tie into direct emotional reaction.
Dude, you'll get shot if you do that to the wrong person.
Yeah.
I've never been a big fan necessarily of the whole like malicious prank side of things. Like I get why people are like, to some extent, I get why people are so supportive of that venue. I mean, think about it. That's really what made YouTube get big, was like ridiculous pranks against like family members and significant others. And I'm like, all right, like how much emotional distress is this going to cause down the road? But if not for that, like all of these other little kind of avenues wouldn't have branched off that maybe weren't as malicious. The vibe of those videos still comes through in so many creators, that high energy, high stress, high kind of anticipation really bled through to all short form content now. So it's really interesting to see how that led the way to maybe a little nicer videos, but really stems from these ones where it's like, oh, watch me pretend to smash in my friend's Lamborghini's front windshield. And you're like, man, even if that's a prank, like at the end of it, I just hate you now. Like we're not friends anymore, joke or not. Like I also wish I had a Lamborghini, so that's a whole different story. But like, like that's where it's like coming to this whole weird thing now where it's like, or like people again being like, don't worry, I'll pay for it. And it's like, that's not the principle behind it is what the problem is. So seeing social media go towards a more positive light, I think these days is important. Right. So even with magic, you know, I'm sure there's malicious magic out there versus like the ones where you're really just trying to make people smile and have fun. And like you said, create that memorable experience. Yeah.
Is there malicious magic?
I don't know. There's some stuff that I think is out there to like embarrass people, and not to like put anyone on the spot, but I like distinctly remember one where it's like Julius Dean like removing his girlfriend's underwear in public or something, and like that creates an embarrassing moment. That's basically like a prank-esque moment, and it's like, I mean, again, I know it's all staged also. I know it's all staged also. But like with that in mind, like you then have people who go out and try and do this for real because they don't necessarily click with the staged thing. Like nowadays, I think the society is so quick to shout out when like, oh, this is staged, like this is obviously fake. And like the appetite for it is going away, which I think is great. Like, if you want staged entertainment, that's what television's for. That's what movies are for. That's what all this other stuff is for. Like, we don't need more fake, or that's even what reality TV is for to some extent. Like,
it's all fake. Yeah, all reality TV.
Yeah, like that's all staged. It's all scripted to some extent. To bring that into another medium where it's meant to be more authentic just cheapens that medium, at least in my opinion. And so seeing people push back against that for me is really exciting, because authenticity, like I don't want to spend 6 hours. This is going to be weird. I feel like I've brought this one up before. Like my rabbit hole item on YouTube all the time, I don't know how I get to it, is road rage videos. And it's only once in a while, but dude, like I'll be watching like,
my girlfriend used to watch those, and it caused problems with us driving.
Oh, see, like it actually makes me like less stressed, because I'm like, oh man, like these people out here are crazy. I'm gonna be a little more forgiving when I'm driving. But like I like, no matter what I'm watching, because I like to watch like car videos on YouTube. And so I'll watch like, there's a great channel called VinWiki, which does stories about like crazy cars and everything. And inevitably it always ends up in like road rage videos. And I'm just like, hey, you can't get more authentic content, because like, that's like a visceral reaction from people. Or the ones where like, the ones that always get me are like the insurance scammers who like, you stop at a red light, they take their car out of park and roll it back into your car and get out being like, you hit me. And the person's like, I have a dash cam. And then the person like jumps back in their car and like runs a red light to get away. And I'm like, what? You
just made 1,000 bad decisions here. Like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I've never seen those videos.
Oh my God, dude. They're really like, in the weirdest way possible, they're satisfying. And I think the reason is because we've all been in similar scenarios where we're sitting there being like, I wish I could just say something to this person, but 90% of us are smart enough to not get these potentially dangerous altercations while driving. And so to see someone else do it, you're just like, yes, karma. So good.
Dude, Leslie used to watch those videos, and whenever we were driving, she would like grab the door. Always. Like every time. I could be driving in between two trucks, and she'd be like, grab the door. I'm like, you need to stop watching those fucking videos because like it's stressing me out and I haven't even seen the damn videos.
Oh my God.
She doesn't watch them anymore. She's gotten a lot better. So it's crazy.
Dude, that's how so much social media impacts our thought process these days, though. True. Is we're introduced to ideas that we never would have seen in other places when we were in more of a siloed world. Good, and it's for good or bad, like, again, the amount of information we now have that we never had access to previously is amazing, but not all of that information is beneficial. So,
yeah,
right.
So Kevin, what's your, like, other than magic, what is your guilty, like, YouTube rabbit hole? You have one?
Yeah, it used to be as seen on TV products. Like, I just love watching those really stupid ads, like the Snap Chop, the ShamWow. Love it. Just That's the whole hilarious. Presentation.
It's
like, we're a Floby, everything. And I love it when they're like, oh yeah, it's not going to be 125. If you get it in the next 9 minutes, it's only $3.99 plus like $10,000 in shipping. But I love watching that.
That's funny. And then you look now, and it's like 2 years ago, that was the ad, and it's still $3.
It's still the same price. Yeah.
Dude. I'm not gonna lie, I used to love like infomercials, late night infomercials. And like I once bought like a samurai sword off of a late night infomercial. I'm not gonna lie, I love it. I still have it. It's in the basement somewhere. I must have been like 16. I convinced my parents to get it, and they're just like, okay. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. They should have been like, listen, don't be an idiot. Like,
that's hilarious.
But I never ended up like
a computer on QVC once.
Oh my God, dude. Well, and it's funny because like you think of like the traditional ones, they're always the same. You're 100% right. Like you still have the slap chop, you still have like the Ronco rotisserie oven, you still have like all of these crazy things, and it's like people eat this shit up, and that's a huge industry. I mean, you look at now, you go to somewhere like I don't know if Bed Bath & Beyond is still a thing, right? That's still
I love Bed Bath & Beyond. That's why I like it, because
they have that whole section. They have the whole section of as seen on TV. Like the amount, and like this is always the thing about it, is like there's such entertainment value in that stuff, but at the same time, it's a legit industry. Yeah. Probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people love that stuff and buy it religiously. And you're just like, I enjoy it for the comical nature. I mean, I'm sure you do. I mean, there was a meme not too long ago where they were like, they need to stop hiring all these actors on these infomercials. They can't even hold a bowl. And it's like someone taking like, they pick up a bowl of popcorn. They're like, oh, and it goes everywhere. And you're like, oh my God.
So
like,
dramatic.
They really do. Like that is the purest form of like over the top drama, but people eat that shit up.
Yeah.
I got sold on the Fujiki.
The Fujiki. Oh my God, man.
It's funny because it's like, late at night, this is obviously before Amazon got big, and those infomercials was the only way you can shop.
Right.
Like for all those people that need to buy something, they're sitting on their couch, they're like lonely, their significant others sleeping, and you have nobody to talk to, and you need to spend money, and this stuff comes on, and they're super excited about it. So it gets you super excited about it, and fly away.
How have you found your Fujiki ball? Has it treated you well?
I got the glow in the dark one, so it was pretty badass. And I didn't learn contact juggling. I just knew how to do that one move where you kind of just hold it and rotate your wrist. But that was it. That's all I used it for.
Dude, that is too funny. I mean, we're definitely a consumer-driven society, and it's interesting to see how that really plays out because you never know what you're going to see on television. Like, and no matter how like logical you are, no matter how much at some point you realize you don't need this, there's going to be a moment where you're like, wow, this thing is awesome. Like
they've tapped into the psychology of how the human brain works at a level that's like scary. But like at the same time, like thankfully the majority of people are sitting there at some point being like, I don't really need that. A lot of people are just like, I need this now. Like,
and then you see them on the TV show Hoarders.
yes, probably. Oh my god.
Oh my god, it's so crazy. But we all like buying shit, that's for sure.
Oh my god.
How many draws do you have of all old Magic gimmicks and stuff?
Ooh, I have like boxes actually.
Yeah, like
I would say like 4 boxes.
You buy it, you use it once, and that's it.
I always try my best to use it at least once, whether it's in a video or just like show a friend. And then if I use it at least once, then it's had its lifetime.
There you go.
But yeah, I'm more careful about what I buy these days. Like I know it's always fun to buy like toys, especially when I go to Magic Live. I'm just like, I want everything. I don't care if it's stupid. Like it's just fun. And
Magic Live is where you see things for the first time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like a car show.
The dealer's room is incredible. I just spent all my time there.
Yeah. I'm excited, man. I can't wait.
There was one year, my friend got something super sketch. It was called like jellyfish oil. I don't know what it was, but it's like kind of like a little clear liquid in a bottle. I was like, what is that? He's like, all right, let me show you this trick. Hold out both of your hands. He goes like, do the double cross movement. And he's like, all right, imagine you're holding a ball of fire. I'm like, okay. And, oh, what the heck? Like, starts to burn a lot. I'm like, what did you put on my hand? Like, this actually hurts. And my skin was scarred for like 2 weeks.
Oh,
jeez,
like,
that's crazy. No, I just got this trick at that one booth. I'm like, are they like still selling it? He's like, no, they sold out. But it was super sketch. I don't know who sold it. And it did scar me, but it came off later on. It was just so random. Like, what, jellyfish?
Dude, it's probably like jellyfish, like venom.
It probably.
I think that's what it was.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, like,
wow,
that's crazy. That's crazy.
Venom, if you put it on you like an oil, it burns. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, you have to put it on like this side because it's like your skin is thinner here, whereas if you put it here, you won't feel it.
Yeah, so it absorbs into the skin quicker and gets into those veins in the back of your hand, and that's where you probably get that reaction. That's crazy, man.
That's the old school double cross routine.
It is.
Dude, that's I mean, and again, like anything, there's always the potential to go too far in a bad direction. That seems like that might have been a poorly developed gimmick, because ultimately, like, that's just one bad trick away from being sued. Nobody wants that.
Which is why it hasn't made it to the market.
Oh my god, yeah, dude. I'm sure any of the legit producers were like, nah, we're not gonna touch this one. Like, you know, it's funny. I mean, we a while back we were talking to guys over at Abstract Effects, and they were talking about their new gimmick, which is coming. I think did that come out already?
Stab Happy.
Yeah, Stab Happy. And we were talking to them about it, and this was like pre-production. And they were walking us through it. And I'm like, have you talked to an attorney about the warning you're going to have to put on the bag? And they're like, what do you mean? And so we start chatting about it. And so they came back a couple days later. They're like, dude, you're 100% right. Like, we need to put a, like, if you harm yourself, we're not liable warning. And I'm like, absolutely, man. Like, listen, you got a gimmick where even if you're not providing the knife, someone's going to use a knife. You want to, like, disclaim the hell out of it. And, like, the crazy thing about it in this day and age, a disclaimer doesn't protect you as much as everyone thinks. Like, everyone's like, oh, well, if you have a disclaimer, you can't be sued. You can be sued. And again, this is not legal advice, but you can literally be sued for anything, even if you have a contract that says you can't be sued. The ability to sue is there. They may not win the suit, but it's still going to cost you money to defend it. So, like, with that in mind, like, you want to be as, like, safe as possible with this stuff. Jellyfish oil sounds like the worst idea I've ever heard.
That's why there was no branding on there.
It came in a Coke vial, one of those brown vials.
Oh my god! Or like a reused like travel shampoo bottle. It's like
it looked like a lipstick bottle. It had like a red top. It was clear though,
man.
So
that's dangerous.
That is crazy, dude. And you know what?
Probably wasn't even a magician. It was probably some random dude off the street pretending to.
Probably, I would
find him on the pier the next night, just like milking jellyfish. You're like, what? Oh my god, dude! I love the lengths that magicians will go for like a really good reaction, but like, yeah, sometimes logic's got to play into it a little bit too. Be like, is this really a good idea? And like, I think a lot of magicians get to that point because like you can do some like crazy stuff. And there's a lot of risk involved in it. And obviously, you know, mitigating the risk is one thing, but like when it gets to a point, there's got to be like a fine line where you're like, all right, like this is the level of too much risk. So,
have you heard of the trick biokinesis?
No.
This came out, I think, back in like 2008, 2009. But it's the trick where you can change your eyes into white, like basically like contact lenses. But you kind of close your eyes, open it, it changes color. What? And I bought it when I was in 6th grade. I thought if I do this at school, everyone's gonna freak out. This is gonna be like the best thing ever. I bought it from a shop called Magic Geek back in the day, and they sent me an email back when they were open, and they emailed me after I ordered it, and they're like, "Oh, we can't supply the contact lenses anymore. There's some like legal issues, so you can just keep the DVD. We'll refund you." And I was like, "Okay, that's cool. I can still learn it." But I watched the whole thing, and I just freaked out because I was a kid. I didn't have contact lenses, so just the idea of like, I don't want to expose it, but like, it's in there somewhere. You put it in there, you slide it in an awkward position, and when you close your eyes, then it just pops on. I'm like, this can get stuck. You go to hospital. I'm not risking this. So it's crazy what magicians do sometimes.
Yeah. And again, it's all under that creative idea, that creative umbrella. And I respect that. But like, yeah, there's definitely like a level where you got to say, okay, like how dangerous could this be to get involved with this? Because God forbid, I mean, I don't think there's any magician out there who, if something happened to someone who bought their gimmick, they wouldn't feel terrible about it. Like you want to not have to go through life being like, oh my God, I blinded someone over a gimmick,
Yeah.
So
I mean, look at Hook. Look at Hook by that Lost Art puts out.
Yeah.
Eric Ross.
Yeah, Eric Ross. Yeah, it's like something that's potentially very dangerous.
Yeah.
I got it. And I was super scared of it, but actually really good. So
dude, it's crazy. It's crazy. But I get it. Again, like you need to, that's where the wow factor comes in. And I think, coming back almost full circle to social media, the more visibility we have into all these extreme things that people are doing, the less impressed we are with the regular side of magic. And so you have creators trying to come out with this like over the top stuff to really have that shock and awe factor. I mean, we even see that with like, again, think about like the way that Chris Angel and David Blaine have evolved with these like endurance things and these shock factor magic. Like that was because people had eventually become so kind of desensitized to standard magic. Does
Chris Angel do anything anymore?
I don't think so.
Performing.
Is he? Well, he's like, but he's not like out there doing like TV specials. He's doing like, because I think he had some family stuff going on for a while where he kind of like scaled it back a little bit. So
interesting. We have a question. Since we were talking about gimmicks and stuff like that, what was the first gimmick or trick you created?
Ooh, I think it was called Wired. It was like the first download I ever put out. It was the concept of having a paper clip attached on like the upper part where your belt is, and you can clip anything. You can clip a folded up playing card, a coin, and it was just a utility move. So you could disappear coins, make things appear, switch out cards. But that was the first thing. I just thought, hey, this is something simple. Everyone has like a paper clip or two. You can make this gimmick, and like it's not even a gimmick. You just do something and you have it on you all the time. But
that's really cool.
That's cool.
Now I think back, I'm like, who's ever gonna use this? This is so weird.
That's kind of like, when you create something, whether you're a photographer, whatever you are, photographer, in the beginning stages, if you ever go back and look at what you used to do in the beginning, you're like,
just cringe. You're
like,
I
thinking?
Yeah.
So funny, but it happens to everybody, right?
And so how have you found that whole process on your side with working with like production companies, whether it be, I know you've worked with Hansen Chen in the past, like how have you found that whole creative process? Do you enjoy going through the whole process of creating these, whether they're downloads or gimmicks, and getting them out there? Or is it for you more about the self-satisfaction?
It's a little bit of both. I do enjoy the process. When I work with my good friend Hansen, he's a really big collaborator. Like he really just takes your trick and idea to the next level, adds things that I never thought would be possible. But also at the same time, when I first started creating and putting stuff out for the public, I'm like, I just want to create. I want to become a creator. And that starts with just putting something out, whether it's good or not, but it's a start. So it's really satisfying to know like other magicians may use your material in their own working sets.
Yeah. No, that's definitely cool. Yeah. Hansen Chen, he's a smart
incredible
dude,
mind.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
God, that Hollywood was ridiculous, huh?
Oh, Love that gimmick.
It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I also literally just found the trailer for Wired.
Oh no! Oh, please.
It's so good.
I asked so many companies to remove it. I'm like, please take this off your site. Like, I don't want anyone to see this.
First off, you look like a baby in this thing. Second off,
Yeah.
I'm loving the American Eagle shirt.
Sponsored by.
This
Dude,
is
we
so
need
good.
to show that. Can we show it?
Oh my god. Let me see if I
Go
can
for it. Let's cringe together.
Let's see if I can get this here. It's gonna take me a minute. I'm gonna download it and stream it off. But let's see. This is funny, man. Let's see.
Quick with it.
Dude, I've gotten very good at being able to Google simultaneously.
Yeah.
Let's see. So while I'm doing that, out of all of the gimmicks you've created, which one has been the most kind of memorable for you in the sense of you'd want to revisit it and maybe continue to grow that style gimmick?
Definitely Impress. That's my most recent release. That was with Hanson. And this gimmick I created when the idea of it I came up with in middle school. Or no, sorry, high school. I was graduating high school, going on to college, and I spoke to like pretty much all the magic companies out there. No one wanted it. There was only Taiwan Ben, who produces a lot of gimmicks, and he's like, yeah, this seems dope. He made the packaging, everything. Let me see if I can grab it. It's
Taiwan Ben, that's his name.
Taiwan Ben. Yeah, his name is literally Taiwan Ben. He created like the bottled effect where the cap goes inside the bottle, a lot of other stuff, but this was the original packaging. Impressed
cool.
Taiwan Ben, and
cool.
we like projection molded the gimmicks just to try it out, just the prototypes, and later on, like, no one still wanted it because it wasn't visual enough. So I thought, okay, this sucks. Like, I really want to get this out there. It's my take on the blister effect. So for those who don't know what the effect is, it's where you take a Sharpie cap like this, you go up to someone, and you're like, I'm going to stamp you here. You make a little impression, circle impression, obviously, and you ask them to cover it with the other hand. There's multiple effects, but the main effect is you have them pick a playing card, and I ask them, imagine that circle is almost a blank canvas, and that card is a picture in your head. I want you to put that picture on the canvas and slowly start to rub, and it turns to an impression of the suit, so like a hearts, and then the number in the inside, a 7, for example, and that's just all on their skin. The whole impression has changed, and that was my take on the blister effect, because love that trick. Saw David Blaine do it. It's great, but I'm like, I'm a kid. I don't have a lighter, and I always have a Sharpie on me. So this is like everyday carry. And the whole point of even mentioning this is because I just love everyday carry stuff. So just minimal magic on you, Sharpie marker. You have the gimmick, good to go.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has Sharpies, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So that's new, yeah?
Yeah, this came out earlier this year, and it just hit Murphy's not too long ago, but it was only available with Illusionist and Hanson site.
Nice. It's called Impress.
Impress.
All right, we ready for this trailer here?
Oh man.
Let me see if I can where to go into my downloads folder. There we go. All right, I'm gonna pull this off real quick and
oh Lord. Look at that haircut.
Allows you to make any small object vanish.
That's Hollister, by the way. That's not American.
Oh, it is Hollister. Yeah, geez.
Yeah.
It takes a few seconds to build.
Oh my god, dude. I don't know about that. This is so epic.
Oh man, that beautiful shot. The camera angle. Oh Lord.
Crop shot.
Wow. Music's decent.
Dude, I'm grooving.
This is like when your mom's like, we're gonna get a magician from Wish. Like, this is, oh man.
Dude, this thing is amazing. Oh my god.
I can teach the concept after, so.
There you go.
In-depth learning. Okay, I was kind of low-key proud about this thumbnail, but yeah.
Dude, no, that was solid though. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh man.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
I like how at the end the music was so loud, like you couldn't even hear what you were saying.
It ramped up, and then he just held up a pair of jeans.
Yeah, POV teaching.
Oh my god, so
Lord.
good, dude.
That's
But you know what though, and that's what evolves this all to the next level. There is, you have to start somewhere, and very few people. I think there are honestly very few people who start at the level where they're at now. You know, you look at any of the big names in any industry, whether it be magic, whether it be sports, anything like. You start somewhere, and some people have a little bit of an edge due to natural talent, but that edge isn't making them Michael Jordan at age 4. You know, like there's this whole kind of idea of starting and evolving, and being able to watch it though and like see where you would have changed things differently now, I think is almost the best part of it, because if you ever had to redo a Wired trailer, I'm sure it wouldn't look like that. But like,
definitely not.
but in 10 years, you may see the trailer from Wired V2 and be like, "Oh my god, what was I thinking with this one?" You know, that's the fun part of it all.
Dude, you know what I think you should do? You should create a new trailer for Wired. kind of as a
Oh
joke,
man. Or I should just recreate it. Everything's the same, but it's just slightly better. All the shots are the same.
Oh my god,
that's hilarious. So, other than that trailer, what was like the most cringe or embarrassing moment in Magic for you?
This probably be high school senior talent show. Like graduation week, you have like a hypnotist usually comes in, and then one day you have like different seniors just show off their talent. So I try to overthink a lot. Like I didn't even do stage magic before then, but I'm like, yeah, I could just learn a couple things, just pop it together. I'm good to go. I learned Catch, I think it's Catch 23 by Aussie Wind. And I was like, yeah, again, no experience with stage or anything of that nature. And it required like a secret writing device. And what happened was it fell as I was doing it. It literally fell on the table in front of the judges, the other teachers. And I just stood there for a second, just frozen. I'm like, holy shit. And I just grabbed it. I'm like, anyway, so I'm back on stage, but it was so bad. And I cringe just thinking about it.
That's funny. How was you perceived after that? Were people like,
I mean, my friends and everyone felt kind of bad, but they were still like, yeah, because I still had some other tricks that were decent, like dress code and whatnot. But they're like, okay, it's not your best work, but it's something.
That's hilarious. That's funny.
Yeah.
Definitely I think start.
That comes with the territory of being a magician, is that humility factor. You know, there's always gonna be a time where you mess up, whether it's they see you do a double lift or whatever, you know. GPS doesn't work, it gets stuck, or your palm sticks out, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
So that's what makes you better. So
yeah. I mean, it kind of teaches you how to deal with that, I guess, on the cuff kind of creation of a story, right? Or
that's what really defines a professional, though. A professional is someone who could really change it or fix the trick on the spot without making it look like a mistake. Because similar to just acting in general, like no one knows where it's going to go. So if you're doing a live theater show, you mess up your line, no one knows that. So don't act as if it's wrong. Just move forward.
The more you get stuck on it is the more that, you know, that's how people are going to tell that. Okay, clearly.
More obvious.
That's so funny. Dude, before I forget, we should do our little sniff for Stu.
Yes. So
let's do it.
As we mentioned, backstage, we have this tradition on the show where we do a sniff for Stu, where we have you take a deck of cards, open it, and smell it, and kind of give us your little bit of a tasting notes aspect on it, you know. And there's no real method or approach to this. It's for each person. You do it your own way. But what deck are you going to be opening today?
I'm going to be opening up my own brand of deck called Daydreamers. So
nice.
Very nice.
Boom. Clouds.
Awesome.
All right. So just go for it.
Go for it, man. Yeah.
All right. Let's do it.
And
Printed
then
by United States Playing Card Company.
Very nice.
Okay.
Where can people get that deck if they want it?
Should be available in most Magic stores though. So
nice.
Right on.
Yeah. Okay, and then I mean, I smell decks, of course, but I've just never been asked this question to do it live. So
We're putting you on the spot.
hits differently. This really, the first thing I think of when I smell this is Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And I used to be so into Yu-Gi-Oh cards. That's the only thing I wanted for Christmas or my birthday. And I didn't even really play. I just like collecting them. It's like, ooh, shiny, has a nice foil to it. But it has that new Yu-Gi-Oh card deck smell. And
nice.
it also reminds me of my first time like getting a bicycle deck. My first time getting a bicycle deck was in middle school. And it was from one of my classmates, like this girl who sat next to me. She was in band. I just remember her always taking out her bicycle deck. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I see this in movies. This is what like the professionals use. I'm pretty sure. Can I trade you for that deck? Because I didn't even know how to obtain a bicycle deck at that point. So I literally traded her like 2 fancy pens or mechanical pencils I had for her really crappy used up bicycle deck. But I just wanted it. I'm like, it's mine. So she traded it and I took it home and I'm like, oh my God, this feels so nice. It's great. It's so like flexible. It has like a different feel to it than the other like gift shop cards I was using. But yeah, this just really reminds me of that. It's
cool.
USPCC.
That's cool little nostalgia.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things I love about playing cards is everyone's got a story. I don't want to say everyone. Yeah. A lot of people have a story about like a nostalgic aspect of playing cards. And that's one of the best parts about it is I think that's why so much Magic revolves around playing cards because they have that inherent connection for so many people. You know, same with money, same with coins. Everyone has seen a quarter. Everyone has seen a deck of cards, at least in the US and most of the world. You know, there's obviously areas where, you know, if you go try and do a magic trick in Russia with a US $50, it's not going to have that immediate impact. The trick will still be cool, but it won't have that immediate connection that you would have if you used a Russian coin instead. Same with like a deck of cards. There are still some places where cards are still highly regulated. Probably don't see as much card-based Magic there as you would in other parts of the world, but it's crazy. What's go for it, Steve?
Obviously, you have your own deck of cards.
Yes.
You know, is that the only deck that you've come out with, or it's?
Yeah, this is the first and only deck of cards I've come out with, and hopefully, I will spend more time working on the next design. But it was a really fun process to make the trailer and just to design it and everything. So
yeah, and that's a whole different ball game, right? It's coming out with a deck of cards.
Yeah,
that was pretty recent, right? It was about 8 months ago, maybe.
This was back in like 2019, earlier 2019.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I think they hit Murphy's not too long, like not about 9 months ago, right?
Maybe.
They're all sold out though, so
yeah,
it's good though, man.
People bought them quick.
What you want people to pick up the decks quick.
Yeah,
true.
And so, any aspirations to potentially create a second deck down the road?
Like the type of inspiration so far, or
yeah, like I mean, any sort of deck for you. Like, would you either make a Daydreamer V2, or would you make a whole new deck down the road, something branded specifically for you? You know, any aspirations to do that?
I think a Daydreamer V2 would be incredible because the whole idea came from just wanting to do more and turning like the cliche line of turning your dreams into reality. But it really is true. And I want to catch aspects of that because my first part-time job was working at a dental office and it was just down the street from my home. So it's like, whoa, dental office, magician. It's weird transition. But every time I wasn't doing the work and sometimes I would like doze off when I should have been doing work, I had Post-it notes everywhere. The office just had like sticky notes everywhere. So every time I just daydream about creating a magic concept or I thought something was funny, I'd write it down immediately and shove it in my pocket. And then by the end of the day, every single time, bunch of Post-it notes, just like boom, a stack of them. And I would kind of lay them out on my table and just say which one would actually be practical to initiate on. But that's why I also have a Daydreamer Joker with his head in the clouds.
Oh, nice.
On that. Oh, there we go. And there's an actual gaff here I can show that has the 8 of diamonds. So what you can do with it is you can do a dual reality effect where you show someone a Joker, everybody are like head in the clouds, and then you top change it, show someone else, or like get a card in mind, see it in the clouds, switch it back, do your little card routine, and boom, you're clean.
That's dope. That's cool.
That is really cool.
Now, is that the only, I guess you could say, the gaff that's in the deck, or have you created?
Yeah, let's we can run through some, but that's the only gaff. Let's get close up. So that's the Joker. The backs look like that. completely mirrored.
Nice.
And then I wanted to make, oh, that's the ace of spades.
Oh, cool.
Dreamers. I wanted to make the court cards pop a little more. So these are the standard court cards, but they have like that really nice yellow tint to it that does make it pop from like the very gray monotone style. But yeah,
that's cool. Now, do you use those in your act a lot, or do you find yourself using other decks? Or
I mainly stick with bicycle, believe it or not. But like for a lot of the videos I make with friends for YouTube or just casually performing in general, I have this.
Nice. You have like a stockpile of them for you?
I do. I do have a lot.
I find it's funny. We talk to so many different like creators of decks, and they're like, "Yeah, I wish I kept more."
Yeah.
A lot of people kind of get rid of them, and then they don't think about it. They might keep 12 of them or something, and then they go through 12 pretty quickly, and they're like, "Dang, I wish I kept more."
Yeah,
dude, it's tough. I mean, it really is tough because again, it's also still a business, you know, if people, and you want to get the brand out there. So if people come back and they're like, oh, do you have any more? You're almost like, yeah, I do. And all of a sudden that realize you're down to like 2 bricks and you're like, oh crap. But
gotta keep it.
And so, you know, again, swinging back a little bit to the creative process. And we talked a little bit earlier about how for you starting out, it was literally just scissors, cardboard, glue, and tape. What's one of the weirdest things you've ever tried to bring into the creative process? You know, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of weird stuff like a cactus. You know, what's something you've really tried to what's something you've really tried to build into a magic routine or a gimmick that really was out of the box, and maybe it worked, maybe it didn't, but what stood out the most to you as like a strange one?
A sleeping goat.
You took it right out of my mouth. I would say it's
fainting goat, not sleeping goat. Fainting goat.
I have this photo in front of the toilet on top, and it's like a photo of a beach at every time in the restroom I see it, and I'm like, it's just a beautiful photo of the beach, and you have a nice sand area, you got the clouds above, and I always thought I just love the idea of like seashells, sand. There has to be something to do with sand that I can use, and I developed a trick that used kinetic sand in my virtual show that I use every time now, and it just like, I'm so proud of it. It kills every single time. But
that's really
to give you a premise of it, the idea is I have everyone create a seashell by going like this with their left hand, make an O. You take your right hand, cover up the front side, and slowly bring it to your ear. Of course, without an AirPod. And then it would actually simulate a real seashell if you do that. And I would say, imagine that you're at a beach right now, but focus on which country in the world this beach is located at. And once you have a country in mind, wave your hand at me. And I have a styrofoam cup. Ooh, actually, I have it here. Styrofoam cup. And I say, hey, Steve, who just waved your hand at me, before you tell us all the location you have, what do you see inside? And then Steve's like, I see nothing. I'm like, yeah, it wasn't a trick question. It really is completely empty. And I just hold it here. And I'm like, what is the place? And you say, give me a country.
United States.
United States.
Australia.
Of all the places.
Australia.
Because if they say USA, which audiences mainly are from USA, I'm like, let's change it up a little bit. Make it more difficult.
I'll say Australia.
Australia. So I leave this here and I just walk them through the scenario. I'm like, imagine we're all in Australia at the beach together. And then Steve, inside your mind, of course, on a piece of paper, you write down sand from Australia. Fold up that piece of paper, bury it in the sand. I then take a cup and scoop up that sand so we can keep it as a memento. But again, none of this is real, just happening here. But if it was, now, and I slowly tilt the cup at the camera, you can see the sand filled up to the very top. And I have a tray. I dump it out, make a little sand castle. And I'm like, wait, but you still have that memento buried in. Destroy the sand castle, and there's a note inside. Open it up cleanly, and it says sand from Australia. So
that's really cool.
Oh,
that's really cool.
Thank you.
That's cool. We got to see that.
Dude, I love the idea of bringing like relatively mundane objects into magic. Obviously, again, like cards, coins, but like there's so many things in our day-to-day life that have different impact on all of us. You know, I mean, coffee is always an interesting one. Like, I'm sure someone's out there doing coffee shop magic where you use the latte art on top of it and it reveals your card or something like that.
The new Sugar Cube by OC.
Yeah. Dude, there's always like such really clever ways to kind of do everyday objects into magic. It's always fun to see the creators process and how far they're willing to go with it. Again, like we talked about Stab Happy earlier from Abstract Effects. It's like a lot of people carry a knife for work. You know, it is what it is. It's something that people are familiar with. And then you put it together with a deck of cards and you have this impactful kind of magic trick. But dude, I'm waiting, or I'm sure there's people out there who are using crazy stuff too. Like,
hold on. I have a question. Why does everybody have beach scenes in their bathroom?
That's a really good question.
Maybe it's relaxing.
Yeah, but
I think so.
Relax while you're pooping.
Like, sure you do.
Not
That's
really.
100%. Yeah, it's 100% what the whole purpose of it is. In order to go to the bathroom, you have to relax your muscles. And in order to do that, you put yourself in a relaxed state. And so...
Yeah, but how many people you know go into the bathroom without their phone, first of all?
I try not to bring my phone into the bathroom, I'll be honest. But I bring a book with me instead, because I feel like if I'm on my phone, I end up just like spending time scrolling through crap I don't need to be looking at.
Yeah, I'm a phone person in the bathroom. Like, that's where I play my game.
Any poop decks?
Oh, okay. There you go.
That's how the poop emoji deck probably was created. They were in the bathroom and they're like I'm going to create a poop emoji deck. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, it's just where the beach scenes are just in so many bathrooms.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh my God. I see. And I feel like that's just, again, like a relaxing thing. I don't know why. Like, I feel like seashells, I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
I mean,
when you think of like just water sounds, you just want to like pee more easily, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is, even like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, when you go to the bathroom, like you're going into the bathroom to pee, right? You're not going into the bathroom being like, okay, I'm gonna go look at this picture so I can pee. And you just go in there, you go pee. Hold on. And when you poop, right? Are you sitting on the toilet looking up going, oh, that's so relaxing? Like, you're reading a book. I'm on the phone. Like, how many people actually
but you set the ambiance. That's what it is. You set the ambiance.
For the aesthetics.
Yeah. Well, and also though, like if you're going to the bathroom, like if you're walking to a bathroom to pee, like you kind of zone out while you're doing it. So you like to stare at something. If there's a nice picture right in front of you, you just stare at it.
You get lost in it.
Yeah. Then you pee on the seat a little bit and you got to clean it up. And there you go. Like,
I mean, if you pee on the seat, then you need to.
You got a little too lost in the picture.
You need to work on that. I never understood how you literally pee on the seat. I understand the splash up thing.
Oh my God, I was joking.
Actually peeing on the seat, you got to like work on that.
Oh my God. I love it. Absolutely love it. Well, there you go. Now, Kevin, you can start working on a gimmick that revolves around a toilet seat. So
that's the next big idea. No more wallets.
That would surely be an awkward one. You just like bust into the bathroom while someone's in there and be like, want to see a trick? Oh my God.
They'll be like, no.
Maybe after.
just make sure they're they're at the sink or something first. You don't want to do it while they're at the urinal and they have their pants down or unzipped or something. You know?
Yeah, conversation.
There's a video where someone's like, "Hey, happy Halloween! You want some candy?" And he's just like reaching under. He's like in the middle of two people sitting on the toilet, and then they're like, "Oh my God, this is great!" And then they all grab some candy, and the other guy's like, "Can I have one more piece?" He's like, "Yeah, I got you, man."
Oh my God!
Do that with a trick. That'd be funny. It's like, "Hey, man, let's pick a card, slide it underneath."
Yeah, but you could do something about, I don't know, bathroom stuff with a card. I guess you can't. I mean, you could, but people get kind of really like weary in the bathroom, which is
they get protective. Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course.
No, that's definitely an evolutionary response. You got to figure like that's one of the times you're vulnerable. That and when you're sleeping, and so people naturally have fears that build up around sleeping and going to the bathroom. So I mean, think about all the people who are afraid of the dark. Even as adults, don't like the dark. Like that's 100% an evolutionary response where cavemen had things in the dark that they couldn't see that would kill them while they're sleeping. And so you get nervous about the dark because you don't know what's out there. So same with the bathroom. Like if you're sitting there with your pants around your ankles and something kicks in the door, it's a fight or flight response, but like you ain't got nowhere to go. You're tripping. Like
dude, the ghost can't get you if you close the light and you run fast enough into your room. The ghost can't catch up.
Exactly. And then you have to jump onto the bed so nothing under the bed gets you either.
Oh yeah. Works every time.
That's why you cover your head with the covers, because they can't see you if you do that.
Yeah.
My God. Dude, I'm gonna tell you.
So I have Nest Cam in my house, and I would never put it in my room, and the only reason is because in my head, if I was to ever see anybody like come in my room, or if like my girlfriend woke up in the middle of the night was like staring at me like standing, that would
Scar
freak
you.
me out. Or if I just did something that was just unexpected and I saw it on camera, I'd be just creeped out.
Smell a deck as soon as you wake up.
There you go.
Wake up and be like,
Yeah.
yeah, no. I would never put a camera in my room for that reason.
Understandably so, but oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. I also love the tangents that this show gets on from time to time. But with that in mind, Kevin, I do have to say one thing that we're always interested in hearing is where you kind of see your progression going from here. Obviously, you've built this really well, thought out foundation for social media. You kind of mentioned that even the social media side of things is your fun side of it all. What's your kind of next aspirational goal, whether it be within Magic or just in life in general?
It would be having my own theater show. That's something I've been working on nonstop.
That's really cool.
Hopefully it'll launch later this year or early next year, depending on where we're at in terms of safety. But I don't really dream of having my own Vegas show. I think a lot of like normal people think that's the dream of a magician, is having like a headline show in Vegas. And if I did get offered that out of a blue, might just take it. Like, that's incredible. But I want to make LA my home base. So I want to stay here and create my own private venue here. And that's one of the biggest goals coming up. So
that's cool. That's exciting.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot to say about that small, intimate setting too. I think once you get, obviously, yes, if Vegas knocks on your door, you'll be like, duh. It's a great opportunity. But like, I think what it comes down to, and a lot of musicians like that small, intimate venue as well, just because it allows you to connect a little better with the spectators and stuff like that.
I've talked to like other performers who've had their own like theater show. They're still doing it, and they even said, I wanted to upgrade to a bigger theater, but actually the bigger you get, the smaller you want to keep the audience and more intimate. It's actually better that way, which was really surprising to me, but I do understand it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it totally makes sense. Because I think the bigger the stage you're on, the smaller the show looks. Because if you're on like in a big like venue and you're on a huge stage and your show is like compacted in this to like one area, it's like why? Why does it look so small, so concentrated, right?
It's definitely an interesting aspect. And so how have you found that process for yourself so far? Have you found it tougher than you thought? Have you really found it more enjoyable than you thought?
I enjoy the process. I always try to also force myself to enjoy the process, because once it's over, it goes by quick. Right. Like once you hit the end, there's not much after that other than like actually doing it. So I found the venue already. I have the team behind everything. It's really just finding the date to launch it. Other than that, it's like I didn't expect this to happen so fast, but it's still a pretty scary thing to go about. So
that's exciting. We'll have to bring you on and talk about it when that time comes.
Dude, without a doubt, I'm excited to see that.
Yeah,
I have front row seats reserved, ducking around. Tyler,
nice. We'd appreciate that. Yeah, we'll definitely come check it out, man. And so, for you, have you found like obviously you enjoy that more intimate setting? Did that come from a lot of just like over time building it out, or have you always kind of gravitated towards like street magic and things like that? Obviously, having been on Penn and Teller, different experience there. Did that help also kind of shape what you vision as your ideal kind of setting for magic?
Yeah, I mean, starting off as just walk around close up because school, just like all the kids would crowd around me and just show them anything. Then going on to Penn and Teller, I felt like it needs to be somewhat bigger, so like people in the back can still kind of see something, but at the same time, I want to keep that intimate feeling all around. But throughout the show, I would hope to have everyone help me at least once or bring them up somehow. So that would be the goal.
That'd be cool.
Nice.
Now, who? Shit, what was I going to ask? I had a question. Look, I forget.
It worked. Forgetting trick.
Yeah, right. I totally forgot.
Hypnotism.
So now, who is the best show that you've ever been to? Like a live show that you've seen? Which show kind of touched you the most?
Derek Delgadio, in and of itself.
Oh,
100%. Yeah,
Did you
and
see that live?
I saw it live twice because I was the person who had the book. I don't know if you've seen it, but
Yeah, I saw
someone
it on
always
Netflix.
on Hulu. Oh, okay.
Hulu, yeah. Hulu.
Yeah, I don't think they showed that part, but normally what happens is halfway through the show, you have someone grab a journal, and only one person gets to go up. They take the journal
Yep,
and
and
they
they go
leave
home
the
with it,
show.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you just
that's
go
really cool.
home, or if you have like friends, you just stay in a lounge area. But you try to like figure out in your own head, how do you think the show will end, and you just write it out in the journal, and then you come back the next show. And for me, it was I had like the earlier show that day, so I came back for the evening show with my friends. I was just like reading out loud in front of everybody, and I thought like, what if I just ran away right now? Like he would basically have no ending to the show. If I was like an asshole and I just left, took the book forever, like how would he go about that? I wonder. But it's never happened. Like he's touched upon that. He's just said everyone's super honest. They always come back. But I just love all the moments inside. It didn't feel like a magic show. There were magic moments, but even he says it's like it's not a magic show. And I got the brick too.
Oh, did you?
I got the
really
brick.
cool.
I know we shouldn't take it, but I actually took it. And the funnier part is when I went to New York for Tannen's Magic Camp the following summer, that was my first time there. I went to New York after that, and I was walking with a bunch of my magic friends. I said, "Wait, what is that on the corner?" They're like, "It's a golden brick." I'm like, "That's freaking crazy!" Like Derek moved the show from LA to New York at that time, so we literally saw the golden brick before.
That's too funny. That's really
It's
funny.
like no way. Like, what are the odds of this even happening? A golden brick, and that's the whole point of it. It's like no other person would even realize that that's a thing because we just walk past it. But to us, having seen the show, like a golden brick, it's just so out of the ordinary to be there.
And you grabbed it?
No, we left it there. Yeah.
That's too funny, though.
Yeah,
that's
that was
awesome.
Excuse me. That was a great show. Super good show.
Yeah.
Yeah. My girlfriend was like, I don't know how I feel about it. Kind of makes me uncomfortable.
Made me cry, tear up. Like,
yeah,
I was like, damn.
Beautiful,
Crazy.
Beautiful show. For those of you who haven't seen it, definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, so we're going to ask for some audience questions here for anyone who has any. We actually have one that just came in here from Stu. Stu said, if you could only use 3 tricks for a full gig, what tricks would you perform?
I would do unlocking someone's cell phone, ring magic. I love ring magic.
Nice.
If I usually borrow their ring if they're okay with it, and if it fits my finger,
nice.
It's always better. That's the third trick I would do. Impress.
Okay.
Nice. I'm gonna have to go buy Impress.
Yeah, for anyone, we're definitely gonna link Impress down in the description below for anyone who hasn't checked it out because it sounds phenomenal. Steve and I are gonna have to check this thing out ourselves as well.
Yeah,
but
you have 5 gimmicks inside.
I'm a Sharpie fan, so
there we go. Yeah, Steve loves Sharpies.
Yeah,
so
the gimmick lasts like a lifetime. You probably lose it before it even breaks because the nature of it, but it's built to last forever. You have a double cross.
That's rare for gimmicks.
Yes.
Yeah. It's it has like a double cross style trick to it. So you have the Sharpie cap, you stamp someone's hand, you're like close into a fist, you stamp your own hand, and you move the impression, and they link when they open up their hands, 2 linked impression circles.
That's cool.
That is really cool.
That's
no ink, like double cross, so different. Yeah.
That's cool. No, it's exciting. I can't wait to check it out.
And so going forward, do you have some I know you mentioned, that you enjoy working with the creative process, especially with Hanson, who you've worked with in the past. Do you have just a lot of ideas kicking around in your head that hopefully we're going to see come to fruition in the future?
I haven't spent as much time creating like original tricks that I want to put out for the community as much as I want to. Right now, I'm just so focused on the virtual side and then this theater show. But I really hope to just crack down in coming time and just sit down, create some stuff that is visual, practical, whether it's for social media or like for the working set. But that's the goal.
That's really cool, man. And I'm super excited to see this kind of theater act you're working on putting together, because I think it's going to really highlight a lot of your natural creative aspects that you've brought to your magic already.
Yeah, I'm excited about that too.
It's called Wonderment.
Wonderment?
Wonderment.
That's
Wonderment.
Cool.
All right.
All right.
we're definitely going to have to keep an eye out for as more announcements come out for that. And obviously for anyone out there who's interested in checking this out when it obviously goes live in the future, you're going to want to follow Kevin. His Instagram is down below. All of his social media is down below. We're also going to link to the Impress link on wherever, Murphy's or wherever it may be. But yeah.
Dude, so we have a question from Caitlin.
All right, let's see.
Caitlin's one of our buddies. It's so cool.
Here we go. If you could close one fast food chain due to disgusting food, what would you pick?
Ooh, fast food chain.
Hopefully they're not a potential sponsor.
Yeah. Can we ask the opposite favorite? Most disgusting one. The thing is, I don't even eat out at a lot of fast food chains to begin with, but man, if I had to choose, maybe I don't like El Pollo Loco.
All right.
It's just too dry. Like, I want to like it. It looks good on the commercials, but El Pollo Loco is just way too dry.
That's funny.
All
right. Fair enough, dude.
Tyler, what would you do?
Probably like Burger King.
Really?
I'm not a fan of like fast food in general. I'll eat the trashiest fast food. Like when I eat fast food, it's once a year and it's Taco Bell, which is horrifying because Taco Bell is trash. But like something about the flavor only hits like the way Taco Bell does. But yeah, like I don't know. I've been on a big kick of Shake Shack lately, so I enjoy Shake Shack. But otherwise, like I try and avoid fast food. You know, it's just I'd rather grab like something like at the grocery store and cook it up at home real quick if I'm in a rush. So
mine would probably be Panda Express.
Ooh, that's a good. I mean, yeah, it's not. I mean,
it's just the sound of it, and it just doesn't
doesn't do it for you.
Like once or twice, and it wasn't very good. And
sometimes though, it comes out really good. I'm surprised, but
really,
it's. I'm so used to like just home cooked Chinese food in general. It's not the same.
Dude, that's how they get you, because 1 out of every 10 times it's good. So you go back another 10 times hoping it'll be good, and 9 of them is trash. But yeah, dude, Panda Express is like a huge chain though too, and like such an on the like DL kind of chain too, because I don't think people realize how big it actually is.
Oh, dude, they're always packed by me.
Yeah, but
always.
They have it's called a Panda Inn, so it's a sit down, fancy looking Panda Express. It's not like you have to actually sit there to eat, and it's so good. Like that.
Really?
If you ever go to there, Steve, like
where's that? Really is that in LA?
They have one in Pasadena. Or sorry, no, it is Pasadena. Yeah. Pasadena.
Interesting. And then like it's good.
It's so good. You literally feel like you're at an authentic Chinese restaurant.
Wow. That's really cool.
Yep.
Well, and it's funny too, because you mentioned, the idea of growing up on home cooked Chinese food. And I feel like I plug this show a lot, but I really like food. Like that's the only reality TV I watch is like food oriented ones, and not even reality, more like docudrama kind of things. But there's this one called Taste the Nation, where each episode touches on different cultural impacts on the American, food scene. And one of them talks about Chinese food coming to America and how they really changed it so much from what actual Chinese food is to this like to this Americanized like idea of what Chinese food is. It's actually it's a really cool episode, and it talks about how, in San Francisco, like that's where the first real like Chinese food restaurant came about and all this stuff. And it's phenomenal.
They had to make like something that Americans would eat.
Yeah. Well, and it was also
they made orange chicken.
So here's the thing though too, it was actually done as an effort to kind of endear the Chinese people to the American culture, because at the time it was a time when, Asian immigrants were dealing with a lot of racism and distrust. And so it happened to kind of work out in a way that it's like, hey, like Chinese food is something that Americans all love. Like, how do we make that so it ties with the culture? So, and it's terrible to think about how, shitty we are with immigrants in this country, but like ultimately it was interesting to see all the drive behind bringing Americanized Chinese food to the country, so
exactly it.
It's crazy stuff. But all right, one more. What do we have here? Let's see. Since most of us are card collectors, do you collect cards? And if so, what is your favorite deck not Daydreamer been?
Yeah, I do collect cards from time to time. I'm not like the biggest avid collector, but one of my favorite decks, I have some on the side. I'm just trying to look. It would be.
Say one word.
I really like the look of the first deck, Chris Ramsey.
Yes.
Nice.
Really nice.
Which one?
The first one.
Oh, the first one.
Yeah, the first,
Nice.
the white and gold one.
Nice. No, that's a clean one.
Yeah, I like the V2 way better. I think the V1
Is that the palm trees?
No, that's
Oh,
the
that's
V3. Yeah, the V2 was the black one.
the black one.
Oh, I don't think I ever saw that.
Yeah, the V2. So the V1 for me, the back design, it's just hard. It's just the contrast between. It's really not there. It's hard to see. Whereas the black version.
Oh wow, that looks great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I would dig that more then.
Yeah, the black one is dope.
Wow.
Now he's like, damn. Now I gotta find that.
Dude, it's a fun deck.
Yeah, that was
And
like
then-
the first. That was like one of the first times they used foil.
Yeah.
In the back of the cards, right, like that.
Yeah.
So we did have one last Caitlin question come in. Caitlin, I'm sorry. I see you have two questions there. I'm going to pick the last one because we're going to wind things down here. But Caitlin always likes to ask this question, and it is, what one word would you use to describe Tyler and Steve individually? So technically 2 words, but 1 word for each of us that you would use to describe us after having met us in this brief period on this show. I don't also know what Caitlin gets out of this question, but I enjoy that she always likes to ask it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay. I mean, to the two of you, just in general, very genuine, super fun to chat about everything. Tyler, I would say,
This
this is a very interesting question.
Yeah,
Describe you
it
two after having just met for like.
I think this is why she likes to do it. I think she likes to make our guests
She likes
sweat
to
a little bit.
torment
Yeah,
people, yeah.
yeah, I love it.
Tyler, I would say quirky. Steve,
Interesting.
badass. Boom.
That works. That works.
Sweet.
There
Well,
we go.
again, everyone, we really do appreciate, Kevin, you coming on the show today. It's been an absolute blast. For everyone who's out there watching, as always, we love and appreciate all of you for all your support for the show. If you haven't already, definitely make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend. And while you're at it, make sure to go click all of the links down below for Kevin's social media. Dude is an absolute legend when it comes to Magic. We're all really excited to see his new theater show coming out, hopefully in the near term when the pandemic winds down a little bit more. So for anyone out there who has not checked Kevin out, make sure to go check those links. And Steve, do you want to announce next week's guest?
Sure, I can do that.
Go for
Next
it, buddy.
week's guest is gonna be. He's mysterious, very mysterious. I don't think anybody's ever seen his face, but it is Mike from Doc's Playing Cards.
Yeah, so Mike McClure is going to be on next Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So for everyone who's looking forward to that, make sure to tune in next Sunday. And as always, thank you so much, everyone. We hope you have a great weekend. Thank you again, Kevin, so much for coming on. We'll see you all soon.
Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
man.
Thank you.
We'll see you at the end.